We are talking about a video of Sarah Jakes when she was at one particular mental health singing with Charlamagne the God and so forth from the Breakfast Club with DJ Envy. And they were over there speaking about mental health, Sarah Jakes' apology for the black church and how it has handled the subject of mental health and all these type of situations and all those kind of things. I'm going to play you a little bit of the clip of her apology, and then I'll be back in a second to give my commentary on it. The church reality check. Let's get to it.
Say something because we're supposed to be talking about spirituality, the black church, and mental wealth. I think that it would be remiss of us to not acknowledge that there have been moments within black church, because that's the only church I've been in. Maybe it happens in white churches. You were not allowed to bring the truth of who you are into the space. Whether you're like me and you broke some of the church rules, or you just became a disgrace to the dignity of what it means to be a Christian through the lens of religion and the lens of church, maybe challenge you to consider that though man may have dropped you or mishandled you or deformed you in an effort to mold you, that was not a reflection of God's heart towards you. I don't know how much it counts, but I will say that I apologize as a faith leader.
For real. For
the moments where you were told to just pray it away. Thus, I will say, if you have to bypass the church to get to God, I get it. We're not here to force you into something that hurts you. But I would just encourage you to not give up on your ability to remain connected with God.
First, I want to give a shout out to Dawson. Okay, he is actually the one that I actually saw this particular story from. His point was, just apologizing for a group of people or for a church sometimes doesn't do anything. You end up actually making yourself a target. I wanted to come at this at another thing also, at the growth and understanding of situation or things. We become more clear in being able to communicate about the subject. So definitely agree with that. You can't be going out there apologizing for. Imagine right now, since I am a church leader, or I'm a part of a church, I'm part of the church, and people are having issues with what once happened between the church, particularly in view of colonialism and all that kind of stuff. And now I'm out here apologizing for what happened with the church and people's hurts back then. Do I now come here and start apologizing for that? So if you think about that also puts you at odds. You're going to be apologizing all day, every day. Now, that being said, we become clearer at being able to communicate about these things, as I stated. Within the subject of mental health and all this situation on all these health issues, we're becoming better at communicating it. We're not just dismissive. Back then, when you had this entire thing of the deliverance ministries where they are casting out demons and whatnot, when the subject of deliverance, not everything is about the devil. Now, in Africa, we have that kind of a disease where everything is attached to the devil. Okay? People's mental health is the devil. Just blame it on the devil and dismiss it so that it never gets spoken about. You are delivered, which was the very same thing that actually got TB Joshua's channel banned. He got banned because of how he was approaching a subject. I'm responsible for what I say so I can portray the subject rightly. We're responsible for what comes out from this platform. Once you make yourself a point of contact for communication for the church, you're going to be apologizing for a very, very long time. Be responsible for what you're busy with right now, for what you're doing. Okay? Now, I understand why someone might think that's a good idea to just out there apologizing. I'm not detached from the church, but I am detached from false doctrine. I'm not detached from the church. I am detached from false doctrine. So if you were to come to me and say, oh yeah, the church back in the day was used for colonialism and or colonial oppression and stuff like that, I'm not responsible for that, because them folks did not understand the Bible. So why would I be here apologizing for false doctrine? Am I responsible for false doctrine? No, I'm not. So I'm not doing that. Do you see where it goes to? Because people then can use these things. People who are more politically minded, they are more kind of like more attached to the subject of politics. When they hear that, they can bring that to you. And once they bring that to you, what do you make of it then? And so I cannot apologize for things that I'm not responsible for. I'm responsible for how I treat another person next to me, and that's what I can apologize for. If I mistreat somebody, I will then come back to the platform and say, you know what, that was not good, this is why it was wrong, and I point it out. And we speak about it from that particular point of view. Why don't you make yourself a target of apologizing for other people, for other people's behaviors and other people's... I'm not apologizing for someone's false doctrine. No. Okay, if the Methodist Church or whatever churches were used back in the early 1900s and so forth, once colonialism came here and they were using Bible verses, like I'll give you another example. If you go back into looking at the Bible version that they were using back then, it's been shown that they were removing verses that would have... Okay. There's gunshots like crazy outside. Let's not mind that. And so it's been shown clearly that these people, they were at fault because they would remove certain verses so that people could not think contrary to what they were teaching. Do I now come and apologize for people that were using a Bible, a wrong Bible? People that manipulated a Bible in order for people never to come to... Because they knew that if they used the entire Bible, people might come to a different conclusion. Do I apologize for that? Now, does that make me responsible? Since I'm apologizing for them, does it make me responsible for them removing Bible verses? Okay, since we are at that, and I'm apologizing for anything that says church, when blacks were being racially profiled and being told false doctrine at the Church of Latter-day Saints, and they were told that they were a seed of Satan, do I now apologize for that? Because it is clear they did so in false doctrine. They taught that in false doctrine. I'm not apologizing for that. So to be clear about why you don't make yourself a target about that, be responsible for what you're doing. This is an example of that. Because I'm attached to the church, I don't start apologizing for things that I'm not responsible for. I cannot apologize for people's false doctrine. Because it was their decision to do that. They manipulated the scripture in order to do that. Now because they have the main church, I'm now apologizing for that. No, them ninjas were in false doctrine. Them ninjas should get their issues straight and get things. So don't make yourself a target. While we are in today's age able to communicate better about this subject, about mental health and whatnot and all this kind of stuff, you address things from that perspective. We address things from that perspective, but also helping people, other people, to bring themselves back into the body within the right conversation, right? Yeah, not especially in Africa, where people, everything, they are being blamed, it's being blamed on the devil, you are hit on the head, you are delivered. You get back home, you still have the same situation. And you're dismissive about us coming back to say, you know, that was false doctrine. You have to make a separation between the right and the wrong. First, they handled it wrong. You speak about it from that point of view. But yeah, tell me what you think about this one. I think it makes you a target. Just pointing this out. It makes you a target for anybody to come back and say, oh yeah, there was that group. Do you now apologize for that group? Or there was people that, white supremacists, okay, you're part of the church, right? Okay, white supremacists, they did this. Do you apologize for that one as well? And so it just becomes, you give yourself work in areas where you should not even be. But yeah, tell me what your thoughts are on this one. Wanted to have that particular conversation. I thought it was worth having.